See this episode's show notes for our unique promo code to get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn when you sign up for a new account. Get your show on Apple and Spotify, get helpful stats and all the support you need to sound your very best.
Yes, welcome back, Loony listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 292, and we have a special one here. We've got a creator chat. So, of course, the high priests are here. Rebecca, how are you?
I'm good, very good.
Looking decidedly
I'm staying in darkness, though. Yeah. I don't want to wake the whole house up. So.
Rebecca's turned into Reese. And joining us on this creator chat, it's always a fantastic opportunity to chat with Jed MacKay, the writer of Moon Knight at the moment. How you going, Jed?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thank you for having me back on for, what is this, my fourth appearance?
Fourth time, yeah. I've been trying to keep track of it via like some dodgy Star Wars, references. So I think the last time I entitled our episode, the return of Jed MacKay.
Right.
And I was thinking today, I think it was either going to be the Phantom MacKay, because it otherwise it would be the Jed Menace, which I don't think really works well.
I mean, threat or menace, whatever works, whatever fits.
And Loony listeners, thank you for joining us. We are live streaming at the moment, so across our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter platforms, you should be able to see our happy mugs. And we'll be looking at, I like the way that you coined it, Jed. You called it like season one, the year one in review. We'll be discussing basically the first 12, or going over the first 12 issues of Jed MacKay's run, more so issues, Devil's Reign, Moon Knight, and 9 to 12, because we have, as Jed said, we have had Jed on episode 241. We went through issues 1 to 3, and episode 267, we discussed issues 4 to 8. So this will cap off that kind of discussion as well. We got some Loony feedback as well, Jed. So that will be fun. Always fun to read out for you. Before any of that, of course, a huge thank you to our patroonies. Thank you so much for allowing us to do what we do and to be able to chat to creators like Jed. It's always a real treat. Big thanks.
My speaking fee is a bitch, so.
But a big thanks to our principal sponsors: Drew Toombs, Daniel Dewing, Frank the Think Tank, and of course Odin Sword, as well as CLZ Comics and Dreamland Comics from Schoenberg, Illinois. So here we are, Jed. Just
1 year in. 1 year in.
I know.
Couple of priests.
First year down.
A couple of priests and a creator here, just shooting the breeze. Just wanted to kick off, Jed, with Devil's Reign, Moon Knight. So we had that brilliant issue before, issue 8 with Hunter's Moon, the Hunter Moon centric issue, and Scarlet, Fascinera, Stained Glass Scarlet, fantastic villain.
Classic.
Yeah, how did you, I guess, with that and with Devil's Reign being a crossover, how did you kind of what sprung the idea of writing that story that you did for Devil's Reign, Moon Knight?
A large part of it was because due to circumstances outside of my control, Moon Knight was in prison. So yes, the sort of like the basic parameters were there. I was talking to Tom and Martin Bureau, who's associate editor on Moon Knight, was running the show for Devil's Reign, Moon Knight, and just kind of talking about what's it going to look like if Moon Knight's in prison, what sort of stuff can we draw upon, what can we do with them, and just kind of figure out why is he there? Is he there because he wants to be? Is he there because he's going to make the most of it? Is it going to be like a rehabilitative moment? It was not, but it's just kind of looking at what was set out for us and figuring out the best way to kind of exploit that to our own advantage.
Yeah, I thought it worked really well to have that sort of moment, almost of kind of like flashing back to older Moon Knight, of just like letting him have a little moment of violence, but also with there being a purpose to him being there, and then going back to like the main arc of what's going on with Zodiac and the new team.
Yeah, and like part of the thing is too, it was just kind of like fun and indulgent to really do a more throwback Moon Knight story to the Moon Knight that a lot of people are more familiar with.
Yeah.
So just tell like a really ugly, mean prison story with, I mean, you know, mean by superhero standards, not like, you know, fucking Oz or something, but you know, to do that with Moon Knight and just, you know, get that violence in there and that kind of, you know, tension, I thought was a lot of fun, and it was a nice change of pace from what we've been doing in the main series.
Yeah, and we had, I guess, throwbacks to your current run as well. Obviously, it ties into your run, but with 8-Ball being part, like the roommate of Moon Knight, that was pretty cool as well. But Man Mountain Marco, I know the boys over at Tomes of Evil absolutely loved that.
Always rapping for him. Always rapping for Man Mountain Marco.
And I know you described a couple of times about, you know, these obscure choices were generated from just trying to find, I guess, obscure choices. Which from the tree can you pick from, and not really, you know, muck up with, I guess, continuity and stuff like that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's like part of the thing was I think I just went with Man Mountain Marco because he's got such a great name, and you know he's a character that's established, been around for a long time. But I don't think he's like outside of Tones of Evil. He's not anybody's favorite character. I'm not going to get really too upset that I had Moon Knight just gouge his eyes out, you know. So yeah, it was. I mean, it's always kind of a bit of a dig through to see who Moon Knight's going to brutalize that issue in order to kind of, you know, hammer the point home.
Yeah, I mean, and also as well, I mean, you mentioned the graphic nature of it because we do see, and we'll see later on in like issue 12 as well, which I absolutely loved. You get really gruesome, grisly Moon Knight there, just not holding back.
Yeah.
But with stuff like picking Man Mountain Marco, as you say, is there a discussion then about what you can or can't do with him? I mean, like in essence, you've gouged out his eyes now, so that's people are going to have to run with that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I wrote that in, and then I just sent it out, and then I will see if it's okay. For something like, you know, especially a Devil's Reign tie-in, they're not super. They're like, okay, we need to know exactly what's going to happen in this issue, like beat to beat. Because it's just something you have a little more freedom with. So like if it was, I don't know, like Electro or like Bullseye or something, that would elicit a much bigger concern given the importance of the characters for their respective offices. Man Mountain Marco, they're like, sure, next time he turns up, maybe he's got, you know, prosthetic eyes. It's the Marvel universe, you know, this stuff happens.
These things happen,
Exactly. Because ultimately for Moon Knight, it's not the fact that he's blinding Marco that's the point. The point is that he did, you know, it's the action, it's not the consequence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if Marco gets a new set of super science eyes, if he crosses Moon Knight, he's going to get those gouged out too, you know. It's the precedent being set.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a play on. Oh, sorry, Rebecca.
No, I was gonna say I'm just imagining him going on the down low now, hiding out, just like it's not a small man.
Yeah. He gets a job like a Quick Stop or something.
Yeah. Just actually pulling back from that and you know, mentioning about what you can or can't do.
Sure.
Is there anything across the board, if we look at all the 12 issues, that you had ideas for, but maybe editorial said, well, that's a bit too graphic or too far a step?
No, I don't think so. Because more or less, like, we've kept it fairly restrained.
I mean, well, even ideas like as in, it doesn't have to be violence or just any things that you.
No, not really. I mean, outside of like really early stuff where they're saying like this, you know, this before I had Zodiac as the main villain. You know, we're talking like extremely early. I had some stuff and they're like, okay, this isn't going to work. It's too close to something else, et cetera, et cetera. As for specifics, there's not much I can really think of off the top of my head where I've proposed an idea and it has been shot down completely or totally turned down. Just trying to think, because and as I mentioned before, like compared to the level of violence that Moon Knight is known for, we've been fairly restrained. Outside of Devil's Reign and number 12, things just kind of went off. So
I love that. That was good.
I mean, that's fitting for big fight,
Yeah, I mean, it's
get it in somewhere.
You got to make an impact.
Yeah,
definitely. Noel Tate, one of the co-hosts on the show. Everyone knows Braveheart is a psycho for violence. Is there a kernel of truth there?
I honestly, I don't know. I've never tried to put a whole lot past him. So, but granted, he's also not been at me saying, let's get a little more claret in this one.
Let's see a bit more nosebleeds.
So I'll have to test it out a bit more.
Yeah. We have something here as well, just Lena, who we know as well, Jed. I mean, we're chuffed and we're very proud. Lena's, part of the community, and they consulted with you.
Yes, it was great. Lena was
issues.
Lena was very, very generous with her time to go over the script that I'd written. Redacted for other details, but look over this and kind of evaluate on whether or not it's a useful or decent portrayal of DID in comic book. So I was very grateful for that. It's very helpful, and I'm looking forward to see what people think when that issue comes out.
Oh, we can't wait as well. Lena says here, this is going back, I think, to Triple M. They could always have him go to the Mojoverse and get fitted with some cybernetic eyes, like Betsy Braddock back in the day. That's true.
It worked out great for her.
It did as well. Mario, hello Mario, a very valued Loony as well, says it makes his eventual violent bits more effective. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you keep them at a low simmer, then eventually you turn the heat up.
Yeah.
Another aspect of Devil's Reign, Moon Knight, was of course the introduction of Triple M's daughter and his partner or wife. That was an interesting, a nice thing that you kind of created to actually round out a bit more of Man Mountain Marco.
Yeah.
Are there any? Did you have any designs for the daughter, or had you fleshed out at least, in your creative pad, where she goes, what's she going to evolve into?
It's not something that's, I think, integral to my future plans. I haven't kicked around the idea of Midnight Mission Kids Edition, but between if you had like Diatrice and this unnamed Marco child and then Tiger's kid, so who knows?
So cute. The House of Shadows has a babysitting, has a creche.
Yeah, there you go. The Midnight Mission Kids Club. It's like the old Burger King Kids Club,
like Young Avengers, or the Teen Brigade. Rick Jones.
I mean, it's probably closer to like the Newsboy Legion or something.
Yeah,
but who knows? Yeah. Like, there's if there's anything that people expect from Moon Knight, it's to be like family friendly kid content.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, that's the first thing I associate with. Noel also asks, any other punk songs that you're going to sneak into issues? I don't know if we have you considered music. Music.
I mean, I always do. It's something that's always kind of very of the moment. I don't really think too far ahead on it, or I'm like, shit, I need a ringtone for this character, or like I need a title for this issue. And it's like, rather than come up with something clever, I'll just use a song title or a song lyric, so people think that I'm very plugged in pop culture wise.
What's going on? What's on rotation?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, what has the word moon in it, and then we kind of go from there.
Yeah. Just before we get on to issue 9, Lena's here as well, and Lena's I know I'm very jealous. Lena's seen the script for 14. Very impressed with how well they're saying to you, Jed, how well you had portrayed DID, and they're looking forward to the one being released. Yeah,
I mean, we'll see how it is in the final product, but I'm quite pleased. I feel quite good about it. So
yeah, nice. I actually just wanted to ask as well. I mean, just on a slight tangent, because now we have you here again, and the TV show is finished, been and gone, and we've all enjoyed that. Yeah, what were your thoughts on the overall? Had you watched it all? What are your thoughts on the overall?
Yeah, I watched
series?
It. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a lot of fun. It's I could get into it pretty easily because it's pretty far afield from the comics in general and what we were doing in the comics specifically. So yeah, it was fun to watch as its own thing and see the choices they made and the kind of the changes they made and where they came from. I think it was some great performances by all the actors. I think they had a really great cast there. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and from what we gathered from Lena and some other loonies with DID in our community, it was a fair kind of, it was respectful of the portrayal of DID. Not necessarily accurate because there was some creative license.
I think you're going to get that with pretty much anything, unless any sort of genre production. Where you're gonna have
where you have Oscar Isaac as well, you're gonna have him play all the alters clearly.
Yeah, obviously. He's not gonna take a pay cut for that. Are you kidding me?
No, yeah, but I mean, I guess it was quite. I found it quite informative, like knowing that was respectful to the portrayal of DID. But I found it quite informative as well about the whole portrayal and how they represented DID in that show. So it'd be very, very cool to see. I guess issue 14 is the issue, as I guess Lane is alluding to. So can't wait. Yeah, can't wait to see that.
That's our big DID hoedown. So mark your calendars.
Yeah, yes, and of course we'll try to, I guess, skirt around. We don't want to put you in any, awkward positions about revealing anything. So, needless to say, Rebecca and I are very excited, and all the loonies for it. And we can't wait to see it and see how. I guess what Lane has been consulting on lately as well.
It's not awkward for me. I don't just tell you that. I'm not going to tell you.
True, exactly. Yeah.
I'm not that desperate to be liked.
Oh no, we wouldn't have it. We wouldn't have it. Yes, that's a big DID hoedown. That's what I want to see as well.
I have a feeling editorial might check that title.
I'm gonna have to go back to the song lyrics probably.
Yeah.
Maria's just talking about the young, that young brigade of Triple M's daughter. So if we go to issue 9, I mean, this was a big thing as well. And what we've been loving, and I'm sure I speak for Rebecca as well, is just a lot of the loonies have been absolutely enjoying this series, Jed, and it's just the callbacks to the source material, picking obscure, the deep dives or the deep cuts as people call as well. And this was no different, with you bringing to the table something new but kind of seen in a different, like something old but seen in a different light, that being the House of Shadows.
Right, now I was trying to remember what happened in number 9. Hang on.
Ray's left me helpful notes.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time.
Nice.
Shit, what happened in that one?
I think as I was rambling, I think I could see you going, what are you going? What are you heading towards? But yes, the House of Shadows. I mean, like an obscure thing. How did you come about picking the House of Shadows? It's a great thing. So
it's actually very simple because when I was writing Death of Doctor Strange, I got the Essential Doctor Strange. So I was going through that and I read the first House of Shadows story. I'm like, I'm going to write that down for later. And so I put it down in my notes because I think I got Death of Doctor Strange and Moon Knight like roughly around the same time.
Right.
So as I was doing that, I was also figuring out Moon Knight stuff. And I think when I blew up the Midnight Mission at the end of number 5, I didn't really know what I was going to do because I was like, well, he's got to have a midnight mission. Like I've gone through all the effort to make this great name that I probably stole from something else. But because like, he's got to get it back. It's got to be better. And I was going through my notes. I was like, the House of Shadows. I was like, oh yeah, right. The House of Shadows from Doctor Strange. So I went and did my research to make sure, it was still around and like hasn't been destroyed much. And it just kind of was a perfect fit because, the House of Shadows is a spooky place. Moon Knight's a spooky guy.
It really is a perfect place to have something like the Midnight Mission as well. And then it becomes part of the team. Like it's kind of nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because like we're seeing a Moon Knight where he is, often violent and horrible. But there's also a kind of a broad redemptive streak to him now that we haven't seen as much of in recent years. And him understanding that, the House of Shadows is weird and horrible. It's not intrinsically bad. I don't think it's ever killed anybody. And, it says, I brought all this stuff here so I could blow you up, but instead, why don't I make friends with the haunted house and offer it a job? And I thought, A, it solves the problem of him not having a Midnight Mission anymore. And B, like it's not something we've ever seen in a Moon Knight comic before.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of a fun thing to have happen.
Yeah, I think from issue 8 and 9, because Devil's Reign Moon Knight was delayed, and it came out. I think it came out in between this, and it was it was unfortunate because Moon Knight was so violent in Devil's Reign Moon Knight. But if you had imagined that Devil's Reign Moon Knight came after, say, issue 9, I thought it was a really great transition of having Mark, as you say, Moon Knight, not opt for violence and go
in this particular case.
Yeah, and just really try to work with the House of Shadows. And again, it's so cool to have, why have Doctor Strange be the only one with a cool house, So I think it was a great addition to the team. Rebecca, you love the moon eyes on the Midnight Mission.
So
yeah. Oh, I feel like I didn't notice that until I think I clipped that panel for a bit of promo. I was like, it's so cute.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
But it's nice. I mean, it keeps reminding you, like, not necessarily for this issue, but like for future issues, you kind of see it and you're like, oh yeah, it's not just some sort of like building on the sidewalk. And oh my, look at me, I went American there. That was so good.
What's going on?
I'm totally like brainwashed. So I just, it was cute at the end of that issue to see it, but like going forward, it's always going to be that reminder that like, oh, this has some sentience there.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of a big proponent of superheroes should have cool places to live, because Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum is awesome, and it's a big part of that character. The Fantastic Four live in their super science. What is it, Baxter Building again?
Yeah.
Yes. I can't keep track. That was running around Baxter Building. Avengers have Avengers Mountain. The X-Men have all kinds of cool places to live, but in New York they have the Treehouse, which is also awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I feel like having a cool place to live is a great thing for a superhero. Big proponent of the late Kavanaugh run with the Shadow Keep, which opinions are divided on that, but it's still cool.
Yeah.
So.
I remember we did have the opportunity to speak to Terry Kavanaugh, and he was mentioning, and he and Howard Mackie, and they were retelling, their friendship and working with Mark Grunwald, and how Grunwald loved that Shadow Keep stuff, and so he was.
I think it's a really cool idea, and his Shadow Cabinet with all his crew. I love those guys.
Yeah, it is, to put politely, it is quite divisive amongst some fans.
But also, what it was like late 80s. What late 80s superhero comic isn't?
Yeah.
True. But yeah, that it had its place as well, and it's great that was. I think that was referenced in your early in the run. Did you reference the Shadow Keep? Or the Shadow Cabinet?
That was one of the times he died.
Yeah,
when the Shadow Keep fell on him.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, so really cool. The House of Shadows is a very popular, I think, addition to Moon Knight's. Yeah, and hoping that, you know, in future runs and stuff, it's picked up upon and used, because there's so much that you can do with it. If we go to the next one, because I've forgotten to put the covers already, so I'm doing it now. Wax issue 10, this one, which had, if you hadn't read it, you're probably wondering what the hell's happening there. Machine gun or sniper rifle, and some weirdo globby hands. Waxman. This was a great issue. A lot of your issues, Jed, have gone into like second printings. I saw the other day just the LCS. It's fantastic. Like
it's great.
Issue 10 has got a blue version of that cover. So in case
I was trying to figure out how many of them got in second printing, because like 9 went to second printing, 10 went to second printing. I don't know about 11, maybe.
I'm not sure. I probably will.
But I mean, like, even for a number 10 to go second printing, with no first appearances or anything, you know. So
I know
that's pretty good. It's nice to see that people are picking the book up still. So it's kind of a nice indicator of the book's health, so to speak.
No, sure, and we're obviously looking forward to anything beyond issue 12 as well. But issue 10, Waxman, that was again an interesting. I loved it because there's an association with.
Oh, yes, the Spider-Woman villain.
Spider-Woman, it was one of the. Yeah, sorry.
I would say to him, no worries to fear her. Yeah, it's a classic Spider-Woman villain.
I laughed so hard because I'm on a sort of general Discord, and we were talking about the Moon Knight run just generally. It came up maybe because the new issue was about to come out, and somebody was like going, "Has there been any Night Shift references?" And I'm like, "No, but I'll let you know if there are." This issue came out like literally 2 days later. I was like, "You might want to read issue 10," and we were all laughing about like how well timed the question was, because it was all just very like no one had any idea. It was just a random kind of comment.
And I mean, it's not like you could really see that coming. Waxman's kind of
there was no way to see it coming. And I was kind of to the point where I was really surprised they even asked the question.
Yeah.
I was like, going, that's such a like. I can understand someone saying, "Oh, you know, let me know if Bushman shows up, or let me know if Frenchie's mentioned, or you know something." But to say, "Let me know if there's a Night Shift reference," I was like, "Okay," like thinking that'll never happen, or just like, if it happens, it happens. But then it was just that they asked that week.
Yeah, specifically that thing at that time. Yeah, because I kind of like the Night Shift. They're like a real, like it's core Grunwald kind of thing, you know. You know, like the Death Throws, a crew of criminal jugglers. But you know, I think I had the Brothers Grimm in an issue of the first Black Cat run. Would have been Black Cat number 10.
I love.
They're mad. Yeah, they've got a great look. One flies on the star, one flies in a cloud. As far as I know, it's never really explained why. They're just kind of like weird stage magicians, and that kind of extends the whole theme to the Night Shift. Like even the House of Shadows has an association with the Night Shift because Digger was trying to sell it online at one point. So you know, there's right here near to my heart, the Night Shift.
Yes, and Mario drops a comment. Now that I think about it, there've been a lot of Wackos or WCA references in this run. Tigra, the Night Shift, and Zodiac. Well, yeah, the original cartel. Not really connected. Yeah.
Didn't Moon Knight fight the Zodiac cartel in Defenders first, though?
Yes, correct. Yeah. That's true. All the way back in the
that was
80s, 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, because it was Jeepers, blanking on his name.
The writer or
the artist? The
oh gosh, yeah.
Man, how am I blanking on that? Oh, brutal. Anyways, but it's just really interesting because he's pulling out this like really wild kind of Kirby impression, and that was a Moon Knight. Still had like his cape attached to his wrists. Yeah,
and crazy LMD or Nick Fury's brother and all that sort of crazy stuff. So there are a lot of. It's good to see. I mean, great to see again if it was sticking to Tigra. great to see Tigra getting a big role in. We saw her in issue 4, of course. We've gone through her relationship with Mark, but it's great to see that she's still there towards the end of the first year of this series. Just something I wanted to ask as well, Jed.
Sorry, it was Keith Giffen.
That's what I was trying to remember. Okay, right. Just something I wanted to ask about Waxman and the choice of it. Be interesting to know, did you have... So you were looking for a shapeshifter. Did you entertain the ideas of any other ones before you hit on Waxman?
Not really.
No, okay.
Because the thing is, like, a lot of the real big shapeshifter characters are big characters that, like I think I've said before, like they're never going to use Mystique in that role.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the first one.
She's kind of got like bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
Whereas like Waxman kind of ticks a lot of boxes in that he's a shapeshifter. He's very much in kind of like the horror realm, which fits well with Moon Knight.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a horrible creep, so we can really do horrible things to him and not get too concerned about it. Because it was fun showing a real edge of brutality in that last issue. Or sorry, the end of that issue with what happens to Waxman. Yeah.
I love it. If I were a comic book villain, I would be shaking in my boots if Jed MacKay was at the helm of writing a story, because they are always brutalized. Apart from Zodiac.
I mean, the thing is, like, if let's say you're a Marvel supervillain, if you get anywhere near the same neighborhood as Moon Knight, you got to know it's coming.
That's what I was going to say. It's not just the right time. I wouldn't want to be anywhere around Moon Knight if I was a villain.
Like, people tangle with Black Cat all the time, and it's fine. Or like, well, actually, no, people don't tangle with Clea Strange and get off scot-free that well either. But Moon Knight in particular, everyone knows that Moon Knight is not a person you want to fuck with at this point. So if you find yourself in that position, it's kind of on you.
Exactly. Mario also is dropped in a very astute observation as well, Jed. So there must be some love for 8-Ball here, Jed. I mean, he seems to stick around. He's close to your heart, yeah.
I mean, he's just such a goofy fucking character. He's a dude who is so out of his league dealing with Moon Knight. Like, there's something I just find really charming about a guy who's just not very good at being a supervillain. But you know what? He's going to keep wearing that ball in his head. He's going to keep running around with his gimmick pool cue and like trying to rob ATMs and stuff.
Yeah, what can he do? Is he literally just a guy with a big head, like a big helmet?
Well, he's a jet propulsion engineer, and he has a pool cue that allows him to hit things really hard.
Okay, that's.
Which, I mean, I'm pretty sure if you're a jet propulsion engineer, there's jobs out there. Like, this is the United States.
I mean,
the military-industrial complex is like right there.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what? Maybe he doesn't want to build engines for Lockheed. Maybe he wants to knock over ATMs and liquor stores. Like, who are we to say?
He must be just a fan of obviously snooker or pool. Are you any good at pool or snooker, Jed?
No, terrible.
Rebecca, yeah.
I had a misspent youth going to pool bars that were open overnight.
Rebecca's a shark.
Free for women.
Oh,
because I'm old enough that they were free for women to get into.
Right.
So me and my best friend used to go and spend many evenings. I wouldn't say I'm good, but I'm not terrible. Like, we spent many evenings going to play pool.
How do you? What's the ruling in? What's the ruling in the UK and Canada with the white ball? You Like, there are slight differences with, if you think the white.
Know.
Oh,
I don't.
okay. I'm interested.
At the time where I was only focused on England, before the internet, before the rest of the world was opened up for me,
Yeah. Fair enough. We also have. We're getting up to it now. Issue 11. Ooh. So. Yes, another great cover. These are awesome covers. You must be just amazed when these covers pop up.
Oh, just delighted. I mean, like, also the superhero in a hourglass cover is it's such a classic. It has been for 60, 70 years. Mm-hmm. And it'll stick around for as long as they keep printing comics. It's great. It works every time.
Yes. So I mean, Chris CMK7 over on YouTube, he's absolutely, these covers have been amazing. But this was a big issue again, something new brought to the table, and let's go straight for it. I'm loving the summoning of KHONSHU and opening this. I don't know, is it a portal or just a doorway into another? Which is what? How did you describe it? It's like the area where all the old Moon Knights rest.
Well, because the conceit is that one of KHONSHU's epithets is that of Pathfinder, and Mark demands, says, find me a path to my temple, which means that, and again, of course, it's not for free. As KHONSHU says, there will be a price, and as Mark says, you'll have it. Yeah. But the idea that KHONSHU, if properly motivated, can find you a shortcut from one place to the next. It may not lead through someplace that is safe or easy. In this case, going through the funereal halls of the former Fist of KHONSHU, which is kind of the beginning of me trying to explain or work through an inherent contradiction in the Moon Knight lore as we understand it now, in that we have two contradicting or conflicting statements about the Fist of KHONSHU that we know. One is that the Fist of KHONSHU is a generational mantle. It's something that is passed from one person to the next, as we've seen going all the way back to the dawn of humanity. We had the caveman Moon Knight with his big crystal club. But at the same time, what we know about the Fist of KHONSHU is the Fist of KHONSHU doesn't die. Mark Spector's come back to life at least 3 times. Dr. Batter's come back to life at least once. So if the Fist of KHONSHU does not die, why are both of our extant Fists of KHONSHU people who were born in the late 20th century? Mm-hmm. So
that's really cool.
That's a question that I'm looking to address as we go on down the line. This is kind of the first indication of it, and that Bark doesn't really know what is going on. And again, this is borrowing a little bit from the next issue.
Yeah.
Where Tiger's like, wow, this is weird and gross. There's a bunch of crazy zombie Moon Knights running around. Like, what's that all about? Mark's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't tell us shit.
It reminds me of in Immortal Iron Fist when they found the Book of Iron Fists, and this whole they all die at 33, and but then we find out that you can have 2 at once and things like that, and that all then has to become part of the new law.
And I mean,
successfully. So
technically, at that time there's 3 at once. Because there's the guy who was still in the 8th city.
Yeah, exactly.
But sorry,
little plug. No worries. I was just gonna slip in there a little plug there for Sons of the Dragon, the Immortal Iron Fist podcast. Rippica's on there. Jed, check it out, please, if you can. So that's fantastic. I hadn't really considered it in that depth about the legacies and stuff, but it is such a great idea. What I've noticed lately, and it's in the TV show as well, is the fantastic, I guess, display of KHONSHU's power. Like Rebecca and I recently reviewed Black, White, and Blood issue 2, and there was one bit where Moon Knight from the David Proposer run, it takes on the Juggernaut, and that's just bloody awesome. So so we have Moon Knight now, or KHONSHU, able to handle god level problems, but also is able to create or create this pathway, this pathfinder for Moon Knight. So I'm loving this elaboration. I was just wondering, with your thoughts, Jed, on, because a lot of the loonies did love the ambiguity of KHONSHU before. Like, is he real? Is he not? We're definitely getting a solidified, a obvious, like a KHONSHU now in the universe.
The thing is, that was a decision that was made for me before I ever started.
Oh, okay.
Because our Moon Knight book came out of Age of KHONSHU, and after the Age of KHONSHU, that question was put to bed. It's pretty impossible to have any sort of ambiguity as to whether or not KHONSHU is real when he has taken on the entire team of the Avengers.
Exactly.
Like it's.
I mean, we've been moving that way for a few years anyway before Age of KHONSHU, so it wasn't too surprising.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I understand that people like it, and because that kind of unreliable narrator, that kind of ambiguity is a lot of fun. But by the time the can was kicked our way, that was it was done. It wasn't something you could really go back from to say, oh, well, maybe the Avengers were hallucinating, because that would be that bring up more questions than would it actually answer. So
the old cliche as well. It's like it was all a dream.
Yeah,
the whole thing. Yes. So Noel writes in. We have the Defender, Pathfinder, Protector of Travelers at night. When will we see the Embracer? Noel is a romantic, I've got to say, Jed. So the Embracer on the cards?
I mean, I would assume so at some point. Yeah, I think if memory serves, I think I actually screwed up the epithets in issue 8.
Oh no!
So I went to look at them to get them right, and I was like, wait, that doesn't sound right. And I think Hunter's Moon, I messed them up. I'm like, of all the people who should mess that up, it's not Hunter's Moon. But yeah, I mean, we're working through them. We're figuring it out.
Cool. Murray also says, just ask Tigra.
Hey.
A little question, Jed, and you don't have to answer it as well. Tigra, I mean, will we see more of her? I don't want you to spoil anything, but she's been very popular. I mean, people have loved shipping Moon Knight and Tigra together. It's been so long, and you brought her back, but I don't know any designs to keep around.
She's not going anywhere. I think Tigra is a valuable piece of the book and a valuable character to have as part of the supporting cast. She's getting a little shine too with being in the new Defenders as well. So
yeah.
That's imagine having 2 Tigra books out a month.
Oh gosh!
Well, I'm scared of. I never imagined having 2 Moon Knight books in a month.
It's crazy.
And then a billion guest appearances.
Yes,
right.
Rebecca and I
he's in damage control,
and now he's in damage control as well. So once Black, White, and Blood goes, then we'll have damage control as well. So
there's Marvel coming up.
Ghost Rider issue.
Ghost Rider,
Ghost Rider, that's right.
Strange.
And
I don't. I mean,
we've got
not Moon Knight per se, but Shadow Knight. So.
Oh no, Moon Knight is going to be in Strange. He's going to be in Strange.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, Rebecca, this is.
I put that on Twitter.
Okay.
Issue. So 3, 4. Yeah, issue 5. It's going to be a Clea Moon Knight team up.
Looney's pencil that in your diaries, so that's in there to get your complete collection of Moon Knight for sure. Rebecca, any other observations or questions on issue 11?
11. No, because that's kind of now we're kind of on our path to the big showdown.
Yeah.
So wow. We got to issue 12, the end of the first year, I guess, of Jed's run with Alessandro Cappuccio, Rochelle Rosenberg. Fantastic. And we saw at the end of issue 11, Soldier put on the Mr. Knight outfit, which I thought was really cool.
I mean, it's a cool outfit.
It is a cool outfit. But man, he gets done. I thought it hit hard. I think he did a really great job in building these characters up gradually over 12 issues. I mean, they're not and they're not in every issue as well. So we get so much, I guess, attachment to the likes of Reese and Soldier. And I particularly found it was really good because he really didn't have much in issue 12. He was silent, and he was killed straight away. I don't know. I guess what I'll be asking is that,
I mean, like, the thing is, in this world, you can do everything right. You can do the right thing. You can do the brave thing. You can do what you think is the clever thing, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And if it worked every time, it wouldn't be the brave thing.
Right.
Right. So.
Yeah. I mean, it worked on a couple of levels as well.
Reese
Reese tried to save him, but then that dick of a character Zodiac is just too smart.
Well, it's
bigger gun.
He knows he's hunting for bear. I mean, like, a 3-piece Magnum is like that long. So
he was going to be hard to save, unless she vamped him. But
and he had that redemptive, I guess, arc, which was really good because he was, the ex-Hydra. He wanted to,
which is not a great organization to have been a part of.
No,
no,
but
no.
I know it's. Hydra or not Hydra, Cheapers. Soldier, he was doing what he could.
Yeah,
trying to make everything work out, and it's not
he
that
did buy the time though. I mean,
exactly, that's the thing. It wasn't in
so,
vain.
Yeah.
Like
no, exactly.
His appearance there kept Zodiac from sending the crew in to kick doors and just like drag people out and murder them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think Russell from Times, he pointed out that, again, a little bit of great writing here, Jed, in that Zodiac just still calls the recently deceased soldier, dumbass. So just this disrespect, total disrespect that he has for anyone.
Yeah, that's Zodiac all over. Yeah, so his dumbass is always looking for something to die for. Yeah, Zodiac's got a lot going on. I think, yeah.
And he did have a lot going on in that issue because, again, we see the continuation of the funereal rites place where Moon Knight and Tigra bring a whole lot. And now I'm loving this continuation of the supernatural. Not long ago, we got Waxman, House of Shadows. We get like zombified Moon Knights. And
the form of Fist of KHONSHU. Well, still Fist of KHONSHU, but inactive.
Yeah, true.
They're off the duty roster.
Yeah. But I don't know, what were your thoughts when you saw Alessandro Cappuccio's splash pages? I mean, they're amazing. Rebecca and I. Oh, yeah. I mean, we've been noted for saying, like, issue 1, we were like, okay, yeah, this art's pretty cool, but it wasn't long before we warmed to it. And by 12, I mean, there's that double splash where all the Moon Knights are, it's been fantastic. But,
well, I mean, that's the thing, too, but, like, working with, Alessandro's a young guy, and working with someone, who's young and, hungry and just really going for it is you see them improve from issue to issue. Like, there's nothing static in their work. It's just constantly on the move. And you see that with Alessandro. If you compare, like, the first page he did, I think, was that preview page that was in Avengers, and you compare that to the latest issue, it doesn't look like the same artist. So it's just you see this evolution just moving so quickly, and it's really exciting.
Yeah, it's so impressive.
Yeah, and of course a shout out to Rochelle Rosenberg as well. I mean, we've been lauding her.
I mean, like, she's like
those two together,
so good.
Yeah, I think she's just the perfect fit for Alessandro's work and what we've got going on here, because I think I mentioned it before where Tom had sent a message like through the group email. It's like, well, basically no scenes in this book happen in the day. I'm like, yeah, actually that's correct. I think we've gone through like 12 a year's worth of comics. I don't think there's been a single scene set in the daytime yet.
That's pretty cool.
There actually is one next issue though, so that's gonna be a real.
I was going to say goals for year 2 then, but you seem to have
well, I mean,
crossed that one off pretty quickly.
We're really changing things up for people right off the get go,
Yeah. Again, I've forgotten to add this. So there we go. That's the cover for those watching the live stream of issue 12. Great battle. It all kind of, Rebecca and I were, as well as I'm sure a lot of loonies were, just on tenterhooks waiting for this, because this kind of all culminated. We knew that this was the end of, at least the first year, and if you work on trades like 612, we thought that this would kind of resolve itself. So it resolved itself in a way, but what I thought was, and Rebecca and I thought was fantastic, was just because the ending, like with Zodiac, he is kind of incapacitated, but we don't see him carted away or anything like that. We see a disruptive Moon Knight with Stephen Grant popping up, which is
Stephen Grant. Let's come
always
back, baby.
Surprising us.
Always love him. Yeah, love to see him.
Yeah. So I will say for posterity that this is not the TV show Stephen Grant, because people seem to be asking that question, and I was like, no, it's the same one we've had for like what, 40 years.
Yeah. It's just like this is just Stephen.
Yeah. We did kind of joke about that, Rebecca and I, because it's hard not to with the TV show just come and gone, and especially you have
it's because I'll say something dorky and it'll become the Stephen Grant comment of the season because of my accent now.
But this was a great issue as well. Looking at Reese, she you know, she's had she quietly kind of bubbled along as well. Her relationship with Hunter's Moon, with Moon Knight as well along the way, and then we finally get, I think, the payoff with seeing her just kind of like succumb to her vampiric ways was really cool. She's still young, but she really wanted to basically kill Zodiac, which was a nice touch.
I mean, that was kind of his point, you know, that you know, Zodiac was there to push Moon Knight and to cajole Moon Knight, but he's not just as pleased, but he's still quite pleased to see Reese sort of go for it as well, because ultimately, like, Zodiac won. Like he put Moon Knight in the spot that he wanted him to be. You know, he didn't win the fight. He didn't escape. He didn't ultimately get what he wanted, but still, it could be argued that Zodiac won.
You know,
absolutely. And then, you know, the only reason, I mean, he's also not suicidal. It's not looking to die, but so I think he's probably quite pleased that Stephen Grant turned up to save his ass. But
yeah, I mean, the fact that you see Moon Knight grab a chainsaw off that that unfortunate acolyte and just shear her in half. You'd have to think Zodiac won. You know, getting Moon Knight back to his core of you know, killing.
But also too, though, like I think there's a distinction to be made where you know, the chainsaw stuff seems to be pretty well received by people, because you know it's a lot of fun. That one like super intense panel that Alessandro did, just like the mask and the blood, but like that's in the heat of battle, you know, like this is in the middle of this fight between 12, well, actually at that point in time, 9 armed mercenaries, because I think Hunter's Moon killed like 3 of them. And a bunch of insane zombies on the other side. So that's, you know, it's the heat of battle, whereas him going to calculatedly choke the life out of a opponent who is, you know, down, disabled, like there's not a whole lot left in old Zodiac at that point in time. That's you know, I think it's quite a different situation.
Yes, and again, it was great the way that it was slightly different in the fact that, you know, even Reese calls it out, like, "Oh, you're going to just tell me don't cross that line," that sort of trope, and he's going, "No, I just don't want you to be as bad as what I'm going to do." So yeah, badass Moon Knight.
Yeah, I mean, it's that kind of I don't know what the word is for it, but I mean, again, it's him taking the hit, right? It's like someone's got to get rid of Zodiac, and you know, I'll take the hit because that's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm always meant to do. As you know, as it was spare Reese becoming, you know, a murderer.
It's such a weird. It's such a weird dynamic. I mean, I just love it. It's like, because he's doing kind of the heroic thing, but at the same time, like, he's not, because
he's gonna choke the life out of a guy who poses no more physical harm to him.
Exactly.
But that's for a very Moon Knight superhero-y thing.
Well, that's the thing. He's not Spider-Man. He said that a few times.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, issue 12 left us with Stephen Grant, and again, the world is is our oyster as to where this kind of goes. Looking back on a whole, like if we go, you know, all the way from issue 1 to 12, I guess I've just got a few just questions here, just general. Jed, it's almost kind of like a self-assessment, I guess, of your run. Like, was there anything that you wished, like, if you had ideas, we may have covered some of it, but if there were ideas that you had that you wanted to pitch that you wish could have made it in? I mean, but you were saying editorial were pretty generous with what you were able to do.
Yeah, I mean, like, for the most part, Tom's pretty hands off if he thinks something is working, which I think is a great instinct for an editor to have, to be able to identify things, say, all right, this is fine, this is chugging along, this doesn't really need a whole lot of interference. Not even interference, but you know what I mean. Doesn't need a lot of guidance.
Just comment,
which is not to say that, you know, it's been clear sailing the whole time, and I've had brilliant ideas from the get-go, because prior to actually writing the scripts from the outlining stage, I've had a lot of input from Tom. And like, I don't know if you're following the Chip Zdarsky's newsletter, but I think last month he's like, the thing about Tom is that he's always right. So and I was like, you know what, I can see it. So as far as something that I wish I had done in this last year, I don't really know if I could identify something. Like, I mean, like there's always gonna be bits and bobs like where I wish I'd done something a little different, or swap the dialogue a bit between panels, or something like that. But for the most part, I was pretty pleased with it, because by the time we'd started on number 1, my outlines from 1 to 5 are pretty tight, and I was pleased with how they worked. And then when it came time to outline from 6 to 12, again, it all came down pretty well. I mean, like, if I could do something differently, it would just be like a pie in the sky thing, like have an extra couple pages in each issue, because ultimately I've only got 20 pages, you know, and you know, I'd love to have that fight in issue 12 go a little longer, but just don't have the space for it. You know, at the end of the day, you got 20 pages, and that's not going to change.
How does just I guess curious question then, how do you go about getting like Moon Knight an annual? Like, is it something that something that editors like, do they say, look, we want one, or do you go, hey, I'd love a few pages to tell this story, can we do an annual?
I mean, I could ask, but in general, it's just kind of the editors say we have an opening in the like production schedule, and this is what we're going to do with it. We're going to do an annual. So so yeah, whether or not we get a Moon Knight annual, we'll see in the future, I guess.
Yeah, nice one. And out of the 12 issues, I'm sure you'd say all of them, Jed, but what was your favorite, I guess, to write, or what was the one that came together? Like you just went, yes, that was it. I hit it.
That is a good question. I don't know if I can answer that one, because I think for most of them, by the time I send them off, I'm quite pleased with them. And I think I was especially pleased with, I think, probably issue 5 with the Zodiac reveal at the end. I was very keen on that. As far as issues that I would say perhaps my favorites in the way they came out after all the work that we did in them, I'd say it's probably issue 8, the Hunter's Moon stained glass Scarlet one, because it was in general a concept that I thought was a little left field, and if it didn't work, I thought it was going to really not work. So it was taking a bit of a swing in A, having a comic that doesn't have Moon Knight in it, and B, taking a beloved Moon Knight character and radically transforming them. But as it shook out, I think it's one of my favorite issues, because I think it's such a great spotlight for Hunter's Moon.
And the art is just
and Alessandro just absolutely tore it up. And also too, Rochelle, like having to color all that stained glass, like holy moly!
Gosh,
Like I thought I was afraid that script would make them both quit. I was like, but it'll be really good. So,
beautiful.
Wondering if you got any responses from them going, Jed, what have you done?
Well, Alessandro is always extremely positive. Basically, anytime I say like, "Hey, do you think you can do this?" If it's too much pain in the ass, let me know. It's like I've already done it. I'm like, okay, great.
That's awesome. And that kind of leads, I guess, into one of the last questions I wanted to ask. Out of the new aspects, the brand new things that you brought to Moon Knight lore, and all of them have been, I think, exceptional. You mentioned the big swing, changing stained glass Scarlet. I mean, she just turned into something totally different. House of Shadows, Zodiac, Hunter's Moon. Which one of these new aspects would you love to see just carried on in future runs? I know you probably say all of them, but if there was to be one, like what would you see as your kind of legacy character or legacy idea?
I mean, that's a good question, because it's hard to say, because a lot of the stuff I really like, especially the characters, are not necessarily things that maybe other writers are going to be super keen on. Because I really like Hunter's Moon. I really like Reese. I think they're characters that I'm really fond of, and I'm very pleased that they're finding traction with people in this run. I don't necessarily know, like if I quit Moon Knight tomorrow, I don't necessarily know if those characters would stick around. I don't know. But I think what I'd really love to see continue is is the concept of the Midnight Mission, because I find it just a lot of fun, but I also find it very useful as a writer, because in any given issue, I could just have some rando roll in up off the street with a problem. It's like, it's a 70s detective show procedural thing. It's like it's the Rockford Files, and it's just such a useful device, but also a way that I think kind of gives Moon Knight a certain grounding that sets him apart from a lot of other characters.
I also think that is probably the most likely one to keep going. Like, I mean, and I would like them all to stay. I know after issue 8, everyone was saying, "Oh, we'd read a mini about Hunter's Moon."
Yeah.
So I mean, like, they definitely are loved characters.
Yeah.
But I think having cemented the Midnight Mission as the House of Shadows as well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is a real gift for sort of down the line runs, because like if you want to do something very inward looking, you can just have Mark stuck in a room there.
Sure.
Doing the sort of, so I think that one is, hopefully, I mean, I love them all, but I think that one's a really interesting one, and you added a new dimension to it as well, so it's not he just bought a building.
And I think the thing is too, is it's something that separates him from a lot of similar characters, where not a lot of these grim Avengers of the Nighttime Streets have an address where people can go visit them. You're not going to see Daredevil open up. I mean, I don't even know, the Catholic Guild Center or something. Or the elephant in the room.
You'll just be sponging off someone else.
Yeah, exactly. You're not going to see Batman opening up an office where someone can just drop in and say, "Hey, Batman needs some help,"
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's Batman Incorporated, but again, it's kind of up in the air how that works.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of establishes a bit of a paradigm for Moon Knight that is useful in distinguishing him from other characters. And I think that's something I'd like to see continue. I mean, every writer, every creator wants to see their innovations continue and move forward. And I don't think I'm any different. I think when Moon Knight, Red, White, and Blood, no, Black, White, and Blood.
Black, White, and Blood. Yeah.
Black, White, and Blood came out. I was very excited to see that story where they start out / end in the Midnight Mission. Took a little snap at and sent it to Alessandro, and we were both like.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, it's something that we created that other people are picking up on, and that's always fun.
Yeah, no, definitely. I see the strengths in Zodiac as well, been carrying on as a rogue, constant rogue for Moon Knight.
Yeah, we weren't going to kill Zodiac. Like, come on, he's too good a character, especially with the series continuing.
Yeah.
So as we're going on, we've got no end in sight. You gotta keep some of your rogues gallery in your back pocket. Yeah, because Moon Knight keeps killing all his rogues. So you gotta start replenishing the benches here.
Yeah. I guess before we get into just a few bits of Loony feedback as well, Rebecca, any overall. I mean, look, I'd love the first 4 issues, Jed. I'm so glad that we're getting more and more from you. So. I mentioned to Rebecca in a previous episode, there's always that nervous wait for solicitations, and when it doesn't appear, because like with Spider-Woman, we're on 21 and we're like, where's 22? And so, but it's great to see them coming through for Moon Knight. Look, everything that you've put into the Moon Knight lore has been fantastic, and
thank you.
I really love the considered callbacks to the source material as well. So it's been an outstanding series. There've been people like Moon Knight Core calling it the best Moon Knight series basically of all time. So I can't really fault it. But Rebecca, any final thoughts as well on the overall 12 issues, the first year in review?
I just think it's remarkable. Number one, I'm super excited it's keeping going, because like Ray said, it's like we've become accustomed to short runs, limited runs, mini series.
I'm well aware.
Yeah, of course.
I think that's what I said when the first time we spoke, is that there's such a gap in time between Moon Knight runs that when this came around and I was up for it, you really kind of reach for it because you don't know when that's ever going to come around again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt you.
No. It's just I think the way you've managed to open up his lore, his team, like the way you've managed to give us an entirely new Moon Knight team and us all love them immediately.
Oh, that's good.
Like, and it does seem pretty universal. Like everyone, like, you know, yeah, of course we're always going to say, oh, we'd like to know what's happening to X, Y, but most of the time now, since the first few issues, people have kind of died down on that a bit and gone, yeah, it would have been nice, but like we really love the new guys. And plus adding the new lore as well, like with Hunter's Moon and the Midnight Mission, but also all the KHONSHU stuff and having to deal with KHONSHU in captivity and so, but then touching base with the familiar, so like with Tigra, Stained Glass, Scarlet. I mean, and yes, she's changed a lot, but like if you ask the majority of the fans at the beginning, who do you want to see crop up from the old, you know, she's always going to be in the top 3.
Oh yeah, I'd say
you
top
know,
2,
and it's
usually.
just like usually, yeah. And so for me, it's like particularly good because like there's so many women in there, like, and which is something you don't see very often, and it feels so organic and not sort of like, oh, we need to get some more women in because it's like super violent, which is sometimes done.
We got to soften this a bit.
Well, yeah, but it's also like they're also then quite often the victim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can usually see that happening, and just the lovely friendship with Tigra, Reese sort of learning more about what she is, but also how she fits in. Like being able to go up and like yell at Hunter's Moon is quite a big deal, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Because he's a scary dude, like when he's in scary mode.
He's like 8 feet tall and like built like a big house.
Right. I don't know if I'd want to go see him for my medical emergency. That is all I'm saying. You know,
you want him on your side. Yeah.
Just like punch your sign. This is clear.
Yeah. So it just feels that like and you know, it just feels like it's been able to happen so seamlessly that we have this new sort of new Moon Knight that is just such a gift to like, it's so easy to give to new people and just say you don't need to know anything else because it's a whole new team, but all the core stuff is still there. And I do really like, I think it's great that you've spoken to Jewish people and Lena about the DID and Ahmed about the Egyptian stuff, who I love. Ahmed, he's a very, very nice guy.
He really talks about nuding up a lot.
His comic is nudist one, so you know.
He's a lovely guy. He was a great.
But he's someone like we have in the British con sort of circuit, like there's a bunch of us who are the sort of Muslim Jewish collective.
Right.
So like go around like, I don't care when they need to go off to the mosque. They know that I'm not going to eat. None of us are going to eat pork. So like we're this little gang.
You just come together for being extremely poorly served in comic books.
and get very excited when we're not, you know, when we're there, sort of like, and in TV shows generally. But yeah, so I don't know. I run out of superlatives about it, and
no, thank you.
It's just, and it's also been really fun to chat to Ray about. Like, it's like each issue there's actually been stuff that even when I go in going, I don't know if I have a lot to say, and it's, you know, I'm working at the same time, and there's always something to say, which is really nice. And then you know, dropping all these very obscure characters and things for people like Russell.
Russell's loving it.
I mean, I was quite pleased with the reception of this kind of like new supporting cast as we kind of like slowly built it up over the last year. Though I do think it was a real failure that I just don't think anyone likes Terry.
We like Terry. We kept asking where he was, but like then also forgetting him a little bit.
No, I'm just joking.
No, really good. Jed, we've got just some feedback here, and I'm just gonna I'll just cast you onto the screen there so you can address them. Rebecca, do you want to do the Instagram ones? I'll just do the Facebook ones. They're pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So from the Facebook group, we have one of longtime listener Jordan Haggerty and Petroni as well. He says, "Sorry, Donny Cates. I think Jed MacKay is my new favorite author." So that's pretty cool.
I mean, that sounds high praise.
Yes, you're with high caliber writers there. Mario as well, who we've seen earlier in the episode in the chat. He says, I guess my only real question is, will we ever learn more about Soldier? Like, for example, his real name. Everything else I'm willing to wait and see. So I don't know, a question there about Soldier?
I mean, we may not. It's kind of a funny thing with Soldier in that his name was just a placeholder when I was pitching.
Really?
Like, yeah, this character that who like we'll call Soldier for now because that's just his. Because Soldier was a character that I came up with like way before I had Moon Knight, where I really liked the idea of this ex-Hydra guy moving back into his old neighborhood and being more of like a Punisher figure or something like that. But anyways, as you tend to, he got cannibalized out of that old idea and put into this new thing, and then it became kind of his own thing. And especially because like I wrote him in a certain way, but then Alessandro drew him a certain way. He just kind of came off like a lot younger and a little more formative. And then I springboarded off Alessandro's interpretation of the character, and it just kind of like becomes a self-sustaining feedback loop. But yeah, so all to say, Soldier's name was originally a placeholder name that I never got around to changing because I was like, yeah, you know what, fuck it, I like this, and we just kind of stuck with it. So maybe we'll find out more, maybe we won't.
Fantastic. I love that. Love that kind of reveal as well. We've got another one here from Olivia. Now, Olivia is our kind of unofficial Egyptian consultant. She's Egyptian. She's fantastic. Recent member of the recent-ish of the group. So she asks quite a broad question. What inspired you the most about Moon Knight?
What inspired me the most about Moon Knight? That's an incredibly broad question. I think it's just from the get-go. I mean, Moon Knight's a character I've always liked, again, because it's street level stuff, but it's also extremely weird stuff. It's you're crossing that street level with that supernatural / horror angle, and I think those two coming together is such fertile ground. It's just so ripe for stories, and Moon Knight is the perfect character to explore these kind of areas because he's someone who is extremely capable, but also extremely vulnerable in a lot of ways. He can beat up almost anyone, but he's also has just a staggering array of problems he has to deal with in his life. So
yeah,
I think it's just kind of all those aspects coming together where he's being pulled in different directions. And you have this combination of extreme competency, which is exciting and interesting, mixed with these real vulnerabilities and these real problems that you can still put the character through to try to work through and try to find some sort of closure to them.
Yeah, no, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, Olivia I think she loves the series as well. So
I hope so.
I think she's relatively new to Moon Knight, so
Sure.
It's really good to hear from her as well. And finally, from the Facebook group, we have a question here from Lena, and they've been curious, and they say, Jed, how do you see Moon Knight? Do you see Moon Knight and Mr. Knight as separate alters, or as the shared superhero aliases of Mark, Jake, and Stephen? And Lena says in brackets, as a disclaimer, don't worry, there is no wrong answer. I'm just wondering what your interpretation of this is.
Yeah. No, I don't see Mr. Knight and Moon Knight as separate alters at all. I generally see the Moon Knight system being, Mark, Jake, and Stephen.
Okay.
I know back in the Mensch days that Moon Knight was kind of one of his own identities, but I don't see a whole lot of use in that for my purposes as I write this character. I think having those three alters, working together or working at cross purposes, depending what the situation is, I think that's most sort of ripe with potential. And also, for the most part, I think the Moon Knight and Mr. Knight aliases are largely the province of Mark Spector because they're most frequently involved in violence, which is the wheelhouse of Mark Spector.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, no, it's like there's people talking about how Mr. Knight and Moon Knight are different alters in a system. Like, well, no, they're just their outfits.
The outfits, yeah.
It's that's how I approach it. Another writer may change that down the line. Who knows?
Yeah. No, awesome. So thank you so much again, Lena, for dropping that question in. Just a couple of other things there, Rebecca, from Instagram.
From Instagram. So somebody called Spag Policy Pod says, "Hey,
yes.
we know that guy, Spaghetti Town alumni." They just want to say hi, I guess. And then Victor Goncalves. I'm going to do his ones in the opposite order.
Okay.
So first of all, he starts off by saying that he would like to say to you that this run literally saved me at his worst, saved him at his worst, and gives years to live every issue. So
I'm happy to hear. I mean, not happy to hear he's at his worst, but happy he's found something to kind of
And then a couple of
it's tough.
Couple of quick questions which you can or can't answer at will. Sure. What was the inspiration for Hunter's Moon?
I mean, Hunter's Moon came from a lot of different aspects. I mentioned before that my original pitch had a whole host of other Fists of Khonshu that were going to be around. Very much in the was a League of International Batmen or whatever kind of situation where every country's got one. And Tom very wisely put the hammer down on that. He's like, no, that's stupid. That's not going to work. And he's like, but if you told me there was one other one, if you're left and right fist, your Old and New Testament, then that's interesting to me. I'm like, well, that's actually much more interesting. So originally, Hunter's Moon was one of these Fists of Khonshu, but his name was actually just Badr, given that it's Arabic for full moon.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll keep that one because if we're introducing two Fists of Khonshu, at the very least, one of them should probably be Egyptian. And then came the long, arduous process to come up with his name, which trying to come up with a name for a superhero these days is the biggest pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare. It's like I'm friends with Ed Brisson, and we're trying to come up with a name for the new Danny Ketch identity back when Ed was writing Ghost Rider. And everything we come up with, I was like, man, that sounds stupid. He's like, what's a stupid name? Ghost Rider is a stupid name. We just don't think it's a stupid name because it's been around for 50 years. I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like even Moon Knight's kind of a dumb name. So I was just going through the whole gamut of names. And I was like, Hunter's Moon. I'm like, is it elegant? No. But if it sticks around for a year and people say it enough times, then it doesn't matter. Because with all these superhero names, most of them are really dumb.
Yeah.
But just we're so used to them that it it just becomes part of the lexicon, becomes a part of the identity.
Yeah. Oh, you got like I see it as a buzzword, like hunter. It's very evocative.
It's exciting for sure.
Yeah.
But a character called Hunter's Possessive Moon.
Yeah. It confused a few people first.
I mean, like I said, it's not the most elegant, but after a certain point in time, it doesn't matter because it just becomes codified as their identity.
And then the final question from Victor, and this one I feel you may not answer. Sure. Is Frenchie in mind for the run? Have you got Frenchie planned?
I mean, who knows?
Exactly. Who knows?
Who knows? Fair enough. No.
But it's absolutely interesting that he picked Frenchie of all the people he could have picked that. I'm just saying, I'm flagging that up. Just not that you need to answer that one. Just for me,
sure.
Interesting that everyone loves the whole team. Like I'm surprised that that's the only one we got a question about. But
absolutely,
he likes Frenchie.
I think Frenchie's outside of Marlene, Frenchie's probably the most important secondary. She's attached to technically most important secondary Moon Knight character. How fuck's sakes? Oh.
I fed mine so they would just leave us.
So he was a rescue hit by a car, so his teeth were all banged up.
Right.
But we had him for a few years. I had to take him to the vet because his teeth were all messed up because of being hit by a car years ago.
Yeah.
So now he has almost no biting teeth left, but it doesn't stop him trying. So he just kind of gums your foot,
gumming you.
Anyways, I think I understand that. Frenchie was Moon Knight's #1 sidekick dude. So I can see where people are wondering where he's at, even though he's not left him in a great spot.
No.
He's never left in a great spot.
But he's particularly not in a great spot right now. So
but no, thank you, Victor, as well, for those questions, and great to hear from you. Great to be able to read them out to Jed as well. Jed, a huge thank you. Forever grateful for you coming onto the show.
No, let's have a chat.
Yeah, let alone 4 times. So thank you so much. I'd love it if we could, as the run continues, maybe, if you're able, love to have you back on again.
We'll check in.
Awesome.
We'll check in with the issue 18.
Yeah.
The next arc. The next arc down. We'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry, just a late comment come in here. Just wanted to throw a huge shout out and thank you for the first Egyptian
Facebook
avatar. User. Yes, we don't know who. For the first Egyptian avatar of KHONSHU, not from the past. So,
you're welcome.
Yeah,
that is Olivia. That's Olivia.
Oh, that's Olivia.
Oh, okay.
So that's great. Hello, Olivia.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, and part of the thing too is Dr. Batter comes from my own experience working at the Muslim school here in Halifax for a few years, and just. I knew a lot of Egyptian kids and a lot of Egyptian parents and Egyptian teachers, and so it's kind of a bit of a nod, I guess, to all those people who I used to work with and for. So,
yeah, no, that's great, and thank you, Olivia, for dropping in. Yes, so Jed, a huge thank you as mentioned. Now, is there anything, I'm sure, because your plate is always full, of anything that you'd like to share and plug for the listeners out there?
Yeah, so this coming Wednesday we have Iron Cat #1 starting. Is the previously lost arc that was going to be the next arc of Black Cat that has been revived. So very excited for that to come out. As well, I've got Strange #4, I think, is coming out.
Okay.
It's been wildly delayed, so it's not till the end of July now. So it's kind of a pain, but it's good. It looks great, and it continues. And in Strange #4, we see, I would say, possibly most beloved Moon Knight character, Randall Spector, the Shadow Knight.
I know the boys at Midnight Core hate him. I love him. I think he's great.
I love how much potential he always has.
Yes, the potential.
Quite often ruined by making him just hit women.
Yeah,
I mean, he's not great.
No.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna see old Randall Spector turn up in the next issue of Strange, so that should be interesting. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, Magic the Gathering is still going. I think when is the next issue out? A couple weeks, I think. So, yeah, got a lot on the go. And with more things in the works. So I'm certainly not laying idle.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it at all.
And of course, we've got Moon Knight #13.
Yeah,
coming next month.
That's in I think a couple of weeks, Rebecca. So we've got what we'll do next. I'll mention that in the next phase. But just wanted to drop in there. Olivia said, "Thank you, Egyptian. It's an honor." So
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Great stuff. Yes. So all those mentions for what Jed has coming out will be in the show notes. Go check it out for sure.
Actually, unless I'm mistaken, Moon Knight #13 comes out like relatively soon, July 13th.
Yes. Yeah, July 13th. I've got so we've got, I think, next week. Well, we're recording early this week, so next week, and then next week after that, we've got Rebecca and I. Hopefully, we'll be back to have a look at that. Excited, very excited.
Yeah, so Federico Sabatini is back for that one, and then Alessandro comes back for the next issue. Yeah,
fantastic. Next phase, Loony listeners, just keep in mind. Just check out our social media. I think I've got down, it's a first quarter, if I've got my dates correct. So that's KHONSHU's Relics. I was thinking, Rebecca, I don't know if the Funkos and this Marvel Select figures will be out and about. I know they are released, the Marvel Select, so we might look at that, but just watch this space. It's not confirmed. It should be fun. And like, as I mentioned, I think 294 episode after that, we'll be looking at Jed's issue 13. Yes. Any other final things, Rebecca, before we sign off?
No, I'm just about ready to collapse. But
I know, poor Rebecca.
It's very late.
Oh my God,
very late.
I'm going to skip all the apart from the big thank you, obviously, to our patronies. A big thanks to Odin, Daniel, Drew, Frank, Justin, Derek, Kyle, Wayne, Jordan, Josh, James, Anthony, Russell, Michael, Mario, Gavin, and Matthew. Thank you so much. And if you want to be a member, please go check out patreon.com/ITK Moon Knight. But having said that, Jed, again, once again, a huge thank you. And hope to speak to you again soon. And as always, everyone, may KHONSHU watch over the denizens of the night.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.